I don't know if you've read it, but his nickname was Mallard. And he looked like a little duck when he was born.
Marie Osmond has been in the spotlight for most of her life. From her days singing with her famous family to becoming a household name on television, she seemed to have it all. But behind the smiles and songs was a woman carrying struggles the world never saw. Heartbreak, hidden battles, and tragedies shaped her journey in ways fans could never imagine. And now at 65, her life looks nothing like the glamorous past we once knew. Join us as we take a closer look at her life then and now. Marie Osmond's childhood and first steps into fame began when Olive Marie Osmond was born on October 13, 1959, in Ogden, Utah. She was the eighth of 9 children and the only daughter in the large Osmond family. Her parents, Olive May and George Verl Osmond, raised their children as members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. 2 of her brothers, Verl and Tom, were born deaf, but the rest of her brothers began performing early on as a barbershop quartet. Their talent soon caught attention and led them to appear on the Andy Williams Show in the 1960s. That success was the reason the whole family moved to Los Angeles, where music and television would soon dominate their lives. Marie herself was only 4 years old when she made her first televised appearance on the Andy Williams Show in 1964. While most little girls spent their childhood with toys and school lessons, Marie's life was tied closely to show business. She was often at home with her mother and younger brothers Verl, Tom, Donnie, and Jimmy. Out of all her siblings, she felt closest to Donnie. In her own words, Marie once shared, "Donnie and I were rambunctious playmates who never gave our mother a moment to rest." Those childhood days weren't just about playing, though. Music was always part of their lives. Whether it was singing together, practicing instruments, or writing songs, Marie remembered it well years later, saying, "I never knew a day of my childhood life where music wasn't being played, practiced, written, or sung." Childhood should have been a time of carefree fun, but Marie's path was much different. Her life was shaped by the pressure of performing. She was pushed into the spotlight even before kindergarten, when most children only worried about schoolwork or friends. That early fame shaped her in ways both good and painful. A childhood of work and pressure followed. At just 3 years old, Marie had her first performance alongside Andy Williams himself. She sang and danced with him on stage, and while most children would be nervous, Marie had little choice. It was the beginning of a career that would never slow down. After Andy Williams passed away in 2012, Marie looked back on that moment and called him a guiding light in her life. She praised him not only for helping her develop her singing ability, but also for giving her some of her fondest childhood memories. But behind the bright lights, life was not as glamorous as it seemed. In her memoir, Might As Well Laugh About It Now, Marie admitted that her parents made sure all the Osmond children had the best teachers and choreographers money could buy. Each sibling was required to learn an instrument and then teach it to the others. Marie was assigned the marimba. She didn't want to play it, but that didn't matter. Her path was chosen for her. Looking back, Marie described the pain of growing up in such a demanding world. While her brothers performed as the Osmonds and gained fame, Marie was left to juggle the pressure of finding her own place in music. What came next would change her life forever. By 1970, Marie's brothers had already formed the Osmonds and were enjoying hit after hit. The family saw the success and believed Marie could have a solo career too. But instead of following her brothers into pop music, Marie decided to market herself as a country artist. She explained that country music was the only genre at the time that allowed women to balance a career and family. Even as a preteen, she recorded a demo singing Dolly Parton's Coat of Many Colors. Don Ovens of MGM Records heard the tape and was so impressed that he signed her to the label's Nashville division. Marie was only 14 years old when her life completely changed. In 1973, she released her cover of Paper Roses, and the song shot to #1 on the Billboard Hot Country Songs chart. This made her the youngest female artist to ever achieve a #1 country single. More hits followed with singles like Meet Me in Montana, There's No Stopping Your Heart, and You're Still New to Me, all reaching the top of the charts. Alongside her solo career, Marie teamed up with Donnie to create the variety show Donnie and Marie. The show became a major success and aired through 1979, turning the duo into household names. Yet behind the laughter, dance routines, and duets, Marie still carried the same pressures that had weighed on her since childhood. Fame had given her everything, but it also demanded everything in return. As the 1980s arrived, her career and personal life faced new challenges. The Osmond family suffered financial trouble and lost much of their fortune. To help, Marie performed alongside her siblings, but she also tried to step out. On her own, she launched her own variety show called Marie, but didn't last long. She soon returned to her country roots, signing with Capitol Records in 1985. It paid off. She released the album There's No Stopping Your Heart and scored another round of #1 hits. By the 1990s, Marie had started expanding into other ventures. She created her own line of collectible dolls, which became hugely popular on QVC. She also made her Broadway debut in The King and I in 1994. From 1998 to 2000, she reunited with Donnie for a network talk show and used that time to openly discuss one of her biggest struggles, postpartum depression. Her honesty led to the release of her book Behind the Smile, My Journey Out of Postpartum Depression, where she shared her pain and her path toward healing. Later years saw Marie take on even more projects, from her radio series Marie and Friends in 2004 to appearing on Dancing with the Stars in 2007. In 2008, she and Donnie reunited once more for a residency at the Flamingo Hotel in Las Vegas. Their act ran for more than a decade until 2019, proving that fans still love the sibling duo. Marie never stopped reinventing herself. She returned with solo albums like I Can Do This in 2010, Music is Medicine in 2016, and Unexpected in 2021. She also co-hosted The Talk between 2019 and 2020 and appeared in several Lifetime films, including the Christmas edition in 2020. From a little girl who sang on stage with Andy Williams to a country star, Broadway actress, doll designer, and television host, Marie Osmond's journey has been long, difficult, and inspiring. Speaking of difficulties, behind the smile, she carried a heavy secret. During the height of Donnie and Marie in 1970s, Marie faced intense pressure about her weight. In an interview with Page 6, she recalled a moment that changed everything. She said she was pulled aside by a studio executive who told her, "You're an embarrassment to your family. You're fat. 250 people are going to lose their jobs because you can't keep food out of your fat face." Words like that can break anyone, and for a teenage girl, it was devastating. In Might As Well Laugh About It Now, Marie explained how this moment pushed her into unhealthy habits. She admitted that she would lie about eating breakfast and dinner. 4 days a week, she survived only on water, mixed with lemon juice, cayenne pepper, and maple syrup. She confessed, "I still didn't feel I was thin enough even when I became too weak from hunger to do the dance numbers in the show." Her struggles didn't stop once the show ended. Body image issues followed her into adulthood. The death of singer Karen Carpenter in 1983 opened the world's eyes to eating disorders, and for Marie it became a personal turning point. She realized that the way she treated herself affected her fans as well. Women wrote to her asking how they could look like her after pregnancy. That was when she admitted to herself that she needed to change. As she later wrote, "It changed my mind forever about body image." Yet eating disorders were not the only battle she faced. Constant comparisons to other stars left deep emotional wounds. The Donnie and Marie show was filled with glamorous celebrities and guest stars. From the outside, it looked like a dream, but for Marie, it often felt like a nightmare. She was only 16 when the show began, and later confessed that being surrounded by beautiful actresses and singers made her feel inadequate. Meeting Cher was one such moment. When she and Donnie appeared on the Sonny and Cher show, she remembered feeling like the ugly duckling. She recalled thinking, "Cher always made a splash no matter what she did. I thought I was going to drown in my awkwardness." She also shared the stage with stars like Jaclyn Smith, Cheryl Ladd, Farrah Fawcett, and Raquel Welch. Comparing herself to them damaged her self-esteem. She admitted that standing beside Raquel Welch was enough to send her into a spiral of self-hatred. While audiences saw a confident entertainer, inside, she was battling self-doubt every time she stepped onto a stage. Marie's challenges extended beyond insecurity. She began working at just 3 years old and grew up in an industry where children were often treated as products rather than people. In Behind the Smile, she admitted, "In some situations, I was treated more as a product than a person." One shocking story involved a commercial shoot in Japan when she was only 11 years old. The filming took place at sea, and the boat she was on capsized. Marie suddenly found herself swimming in the ocean surrounded by sharks. Thankfully, she was rescued, but the nightmare didn't end there. Instead of being sent home, she was forced to continue filming. By the end of the week, she was dehydrated, badly sunburned, and exhausted. She also described being bullied in recording studios, pressured to perform without question, and having her opinions ignored. Over time, she came to believe that her input was the least important of anyone involved in a project. Financial troubles added to the pressure. The family's financial planners mismanaged their money so badly that by the end of the 1970s, the family was close to bankruptcy. This happened while Donnie and Marie was still on the air, and Marie herself was working 80-hour weeks as a teenager. By the time the show ended, she was entering adulthood carrying years of emotional and physical scars. Years later, Marie revealed even more painful secrets. In Behind the Smile, she wrote about physical abuse she suffered as a child. She never publicly identified the abuser and clarified that it was not a family member. According to Marie, her abuser was someone her parents trusted. She was threatened into silence and feared that telling the truth would destroy everything her family had built. She carried that burden for years, only speaking openly after becoming a mother herself. The effects of abuse followed her into adulthood. She wrote about the devastating impact abuse can have on a person's spirit and ability to function in daily life. Even decades later, she struggled with the idea that being victimized does not mean you have done something wrong. At 16, she also survived a terrifying car accident after passing out behind the wheel. The crash was severe. She hit the steering wheel hard enough to bend it and nearly lost an eye. Her mother, who was with her, hit the windshield and suffered collapsed lungs. Both were rushed to the hospital, and Marie was told her mother might not survive. Overwhelmed with guilt, she later admitted feeling responsible. During her hospital stay, she said she experienced a comforting vision of her grandfather, who reassured her that her mother would survive. Her mother ultimately recovered, and Marie described the experience as life-changing. Marie Osmond's personal life has been filled with love, heartbreak, and second chances. In May 1979, she became engaged to acting student Jeff Croton, but the engagement lasted only 2 months. Around the same time, she dated singer Andy Gibb, and later briefly dated John Schneider. In 1982, she married her first husband, Stephen Lyle Craig, a basketball player at Brigham Young University. Their son, Stephen James Craig, was born in 1983. However, the marriage ended in divorce in 1985. Marie later reflected that the pressures of fame, media scrutiny, and emotional exhaustion contributed to the breakup. In 1986, she married record producer Brian Blosill. Together, they raised 7 children, including biological children Rachel and Matthew, and adopted children Jessica, Michael, Brandon, Brianna, and Abigail. After 21 years of marriage, they divorced in 2007. Marie later admitted that it was healthier for her children to see parents separate than to grow up in an unhappy home. Although she declared she would never marry again, fate had other plans. Her son arranged a meeting between her and her first husband, Steve Craig. The pair rekindled their romance, dated privately for 2 years, and remarried in 2011 at the Las Vegas Mormon Temple. Marie even wore the same wedding dress she had worn in 1982. Later, she told People magazine that a second marriage teaches you which things truly matter. She described Steve as one of the kindest men she had ever known. Tragedy struck in 2010 when Marie's son Michael died by suicide at the age of 18. The loss devastated the family. Over time, Marie opened up about his struggles and revealed that he had endured severe bullying. She shared that she had seen the messages he received and described them as horrifying. Just 1 week after Michael's funeral, Marie returned to work. Many people criticized her decision, but she explained that she wanted to show her other children that life must continue even after unimaginable loss. Years later, she admitted that grief never truly goes away. It changes form, but it remains part of you forever. Her battles continued with postpartum depression, a topic she courageously discussed long before it became widely understood. In Behind the Smile, she described feeling empty, hopeless, and disconnected after childbirth. She recalled moments when even simple interactions felt unbearable. At her lowest point, she handed her baby to her nanny along with blank checks and drove away, feeling completely alone. She later admitted that she understood how people could lose hope entirely. By sharing her experience, she helped countless women realize they were not alone. Marie also faced criticism for publicly supporting her daughter Jessica after she came out as gay. During an interview with Diane Sawyer, Marie emphasized that her love for her daughter was unconditional. She explained that her heartbreak came not from Jessica's identity, but from knowing how cruel people could be. Marie spoke openly in support of marriage equality and insisted that every child deserves happiness and acceptance. While some family members disagreed with her views, she stood firm in her belief that love should never come with conditions. Through all the controversy, she remained focused on supporting her daughter and defending the importance of compassion. The losses within the Osmond family continued. In 2004, Marie and her siblings lost their mother, Olive, after complications from a stroke. 3 years later, their father George passed away at the age of 90. More tragedy followed in 2014 when a 7-year-old granddaughter in her brother Jay's family died in a devastating accident involving a moving truck. In 2022, the little girl's father, Chris Mortensen, was killed in a road rage shooting. In 2018, Marie also mourned the sudden death of her 33-year-old nephew, likely caused by an undiagnosed medical condition. These repeated losses deepened her understanding of grief. Then, on January 1, 2025, her brother Wayne Osmond passed away after suffering a massive stroke. Marie described his death as almost impossible to put into words. She called him one of the most loving men she had ever known, and said his passing left another giant hole in her heart. Wayne had been more than a brother. He had been a trusted friend, advisor, and source of comfort throughout her life. In April 2025, Marie returned to social media after stepping away to focus on her family. She explained that spending time with her children and grandchildren had given her what she called the most normal life she had ever experienced. Having performed since the age of 3, she joked that she had never truly known what normal meant. One story especially touched her. When her daughter called asking if she could pick up her granddaughter from school, Marie immediately agreed. Her daughter's gratitude meant more to her than any award she had ever received. In her message, Marie reflected on faith, family, and service. She spoke about how challenges can teach humility, compassion, and strength. She also highlighted her continued dedication to the Children's Miracle Network, which she co-founded, and paid tribute to her friend Joe Lake, one of the organization's co-founders. Through it all, Marie emphasized that service and love are life's greatest gifts. She thanked her fans for their support and reminded them how much they meant to her. Her story is one of fame, success, heartbreak, resilience, faith, and survival. Despite enduring hardships that would overwhelm many people, Marie Osmond continues to move forward, finding purpose in family service and the lessons learned through a lifetime in the spotlight.